Hi triathletes, welcome back to another session with TriathontesSA. If you're riding indoors like I'm currently doing, or most people under lockdown across the world, you might be wondering, why is my heart rate a bit higher, my FTP a bit lower, and that power number's just a little bit out of reach. You are not alone in this, so stay tuned as I try and explain why this happens and what you can do about it. So what's the difference between inside and outside riding? When you're riding outside, you'll be exploring new roads, socializing with your friends, chasing that king of the mountain, and even having the wind in your face. Whereas training inside, you'd be completely isolated and only have yourself to motivate you during these training sessions. So why do most people do indoor training? Usually during winter times, or if you're working very late and you need to get a training session in while it's still dark outside. Or you might be living in an area where it's not safe to ride outside. So that might be some of the reasons why you choose indoor training over outdoor training. The first difference between inside and outside riding might be the temperature. When you're riding outside, the wind is blowing in your face. So if you're going 30 kilometers an hour, you might have a wind in your face about 30 kilometers an hour. But when you're riding inside, there's no wind to pull you down. So usually what happens when you ride inside and you're not using a fan, your heart rate would go a little bit higher, and that means that you'll sweat more. Now for a normal person, our body temperature is between 36.5 and 37.5 degrees, and if you go higher than that, it means that it will be difficult for you to train effectively. So what usually happens is, if we train inside and we're not using a fan, we would sweat a lot, and then our blood would move away from our muscles and then go towards the end of our skins to allow our bodies to cool down through sweat. So you guys can counter that by using a big fan to cool yourself down, and make sure that your temperatures stay between 36.5 and 37.5 degrees. From sweating more inside, your body might get dehydrated, and that means that you might also underperform due to dehydration. So make sure that you take in enough fluids when training inside and that you counterfeit the loss of sweat. Then next, let's look at power. You might experience different power numbers outside than when training inside. Some people might experience then up to 10 watts lower when they're training inside. Now this might be due to a couple of reasons. One of them might also be due to your heart rate that's a bit higher. So I would suggest that you adjust your FTP when training inside to make sure that you're not going too hard or too easy when training inside. I would also suggest that you do an FTP every 4 to 6 weeks and then adjust your FTP accordingly, as your FTP might change when you start training only inside during the winter months or now during lockdown, or you might see some improvement and then your FTP numbers might not be the right ones that you use for your interval rides. The third one would be structure. When you train indoors, you can have much more structure than riding outdoors. As when you're riding outdoors, there's lots of things that can get in the way, like traffic stops. As when you train indoors, you can structure your program to hit that exact wattage that you need during a training session. The fourth one is bike handling skills. When riding inside, you're in a fixed position, so there's no bike handling skills that you need to look out for. But this is also very important, so you need to ride outdoors to make sure that you know how to handle your bike, do some cornering, how your brake works, as well as going from the aero position back up to the normal position. But this also has a positive side, as when you're new to triathlon and you need to figure out how to go down in your aero bars or how to use your clipping pedals, it's much easier practicing this inside and building some confidence before you go outside. The fifth one would be different muscles used in training. When we're outside, we'd be moving around on the bike, and our bike would be moving around as we turn around corners, whereas where we're inside, we'd be in a fixed position, which means that we would use different muscles. One of the muscle groups that would work harder when you're training inside would be the muscle on the inside of your leg, called the abductors over here. And if you train a lot inside, you would train this muscle. Another main difference is the way that you use your pedal strokes inside and outside are also different. When you're riding outside, you would put down power on the downstroke, and on the upstroke, you would recover your legs. While as we're an indoor trainer, you would use the full pedal stroke. That would be the same as when you're going uphill outside, so you would use power on the downstroke as well as on the upstroke. So your legs would tire quicker because you're using both the up and the downstroke, and there's no recovery in between. The sixth one is coasting. as when you're outside you'd be freewheeling and you'd be drafting behind someone else, whereas on the indoor trainer there's no such thing. So you would keep on pedaling from the start of your session until the end of your session. And the main reason for that is because of the resistance that you're using on your indoor trainer. When you're riding inside, there would be constant resistance onto your back wheel, so when you stop cycling inside, your wheel would come to a complete halt, whereas outside you'd keep on coasting or freewheeling, and that also makes a difference from training inside. And the main reason for that is because of the flywheel or the resistance that you're using on your indoor trainer. But that's also changed now, as most new smart trainers that are released have a bigger flywheel and they try to mimic outside riding as close as possible. So when you stop cycling, your flywheel would still keep on spinning and the feeling would be more or less the same as riding outside. And the last difference might be motivation. When you're riding outside with your mates or on a social ride, you're very motivated, whereas if you're training indoors, most of you would be training in the inside of your garage. So that doesn't spark much motivation, but there's also a couple of things that you can do about that. You can jazz up your garage like I did and put up some medals or put up some posters to encourage you to go harder when training inside. Another way to make indoor training a bit more bearable would be to use one of those interactive training programs like Zwift. That will help you to stay motivated, as there's lots of different routes that you guys can choose, and there's also lots of people socializing with you when you're out in your ride in your garage. So you guys can also check that out. And if you want to know how to use your normal trainer, you can check out one of my previous videos where I show how you can use a normal trainer and also train on Zwift. So make sure that you have a nice pain cave during this lockdown, and you guys are more than welcome to drop me a picture of your pain cave in the comments below, or you guys can email it to me at triathontesSA@gmail.com. And I'll also put it up on the website. Just remember to send me your name and where you're from, so everyone can see how your pain cave looks and also get some ideas to spice up their own pain caves. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and learned a couple of stuff regarding indoor training. So please go and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel up here. And you guys are more than welcome to join my Facebook group and Instagram on TriathontesSA, as well as go and check out the website at www.triathontessa.com. So keep up the training and stay motivated.